What if a story of profound loss, going back 80 years, suddenly got a whole new chapter, like a really hopeful one?
It's hard to imagine, right? The initial shock, the grief, and then decades later, this incredible discovery.
Exactly. And that's what we're doing today. A deep dive into a story just like that. The life, the tragic death, and the really astonishing post-war discovery of Carol Eugene Dahmer. He was a soldier from Centralia, Kansas in World War II.
Hmm.
Our sources for this are, well, they're pretty fascinating. We've got newspaper articles covering decades. Seriously, from the first reports of him missing.
Right up to the recent news about the discovery.
Yeah, and we also have official military messages, the telegrams and such, plus personal stories from family and these really detailed reports about the bombing mission itself.
And the recovery efforts later on, it's quite a collection. Give us a lot to work with.
It really does. So our mission today isn't just, listing facts about Carol's life.
No, we want to try and understand the deeper impact. War's effect on people, on families, whole communities, really.
And how that dedication to remembering, sometimes across generations, can kind of bridge these huge gaps in time and geography, too.
Yeah, to bring about some kind of closure that must have seemed completely impossible for so long. This story, it's definitely more than just military records.
Absolutely. It's about, well, the human spirit, that kind of relentless search for answers, for peace, ultimately.
Okay, so where do we start? To understand Carol's journey, we have to go back, way back.
Right, to the beginning, his roots on that Centralia farm, a whole world away from the conflict that, eventually took his life.
Carol Eugene Dahmer, born February 28, 1920, out on a farm southeast of Centralia.
And his early life, it wasn't easy. He lost his birth mother when he was only 3.
Very young.
Yeah.
But his stepmother, Florence Gaston, raised him from about age 4 or 5, and by all accounts, he really considered her his mother.
Yeah, then more heartache. His father died in 1938.
The same year, Carol graduated from Centralia High School.
After high school, he went on to Chillicothe Business College. And just before the war really ramped up, he was working in Chicago, an assistant auditor at the YMCA.
You know, Carol's story really taps into that broader picture of young Americans from all sorts of backgrounds stepping up then.
Yeah.
Well, he was initially called up through selective service, October 41. But here's what's interesting, and it really shows his commitment.
What's that?
He was honorably discharged just a week later. Why? So he could specifically enlist in the Army Air Corps.
Huh. So he chose that path.
Yeah, a lot of guys felt that pull to volunteer for a specific branch. His training then took him all over. Jefferson Barracks in Missouri for basic.
Okay.
Then Lowry Field, Colorado for Air Corps Technical School. Barksdale, Louisiana, that was bombardier training.
Quite the journey already.
Then more training in South Carolina. And finally, Willow Run up in Ypsilanti, Michigan. That was just before he deployed overseas.
And it's those little personal details, isn't it? The moments that make it real.
Absolutely. Like the last time his family saw him, it was during that training time in Michigan.
Who visited?
His brother, Robin R. Dahmer Jr., Robin's wife, Rose, and their little boy, Robin III. They went up to Michigan to see him.
Wow. That really paints a picture, doesn't it? Those quiet farewells that must have happened countless times. A family moment before everything changed.
It really underscores the personal side of it all. That final visit, a snapshot of family time before the storm.
And Carol's role in that storm, it was vital. And like you said, constantly evolving.
He was qualified for 2 really critical jobs. Bombardier.
The one aiming and releasing the bombs. Precision work.
Exactly. And navigator, charting the course, often through dangerous skies, highly specialized roles.
And crucial, especially when, as you mentioned, the rules were actually changing about who could even be a bombardier.
Right. Enlisted men serving as bombardiers, initially disallowed in November 42, maybe an attempt to keep officers in those key spots.
Seems plausible.
But that got reversed pretty quickly. The reason? Attrition. They were losing crews at such a high rate.
So they just needed skilled people, regardless of rank.
Desperately. Any skilled crew member who could do the job. It really speaks volumes about how the hard realities of war forced changes in doctrine. The pressure on commanders must have been immense.
Absolutely. It shows how quickly strategy had to adapt to just grim reality. In the air, especially. These were tough jobs. Skill, nerves of steel.
Immense pressure. But Carol's story, like so many, took that devastating turn. We need to shift now, focus on that one specific mission.
The one that changed everything for his family. January 1st, 1943, New Year's Day.
In the Southwest Pacific area, the target, of Vinakanau Airfield, a really key Japanese base near Rabaul on New Britain Island.
And Rabaul itself was hugely important, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. A major Japanese stronghold. This mission, Carroll's mission, was part of a bigger U.S. 5th Air Force campaign, trying to isolate Rabaul, neutralize it,
How were they doing that?
with really aggressive tactics. Low-level bombing, strafing runs, flying right into the thick of it to do maximum damage fast.
That was incredibly dangerous.
It was. Reports mention intense anti-aircraft fire, flak everywhere. An interception by Japanese fighters, those fast Zeke fighters, the Zero.
Japan's famous fighter plane. Lethal.
Extremely. So these raids were exceptionally perilous, a truly harrowing environment, very little margin for error.
And Carroll's role on this specific, dangerous mission, it really says something about him. He was Staff Sergeant Dahmer, flying as a volunteer bombardier.
A volunteer? Why?
On this B-22, the Corsair, tail number 41-23752, he volunteered because the assigned crew members weren't available.
What happened to them?
Well, the sources say one had an impacted wisdom tooth.
Oh, wisdom tooth, seriously?
Yeah, and another guy apparently missed the flight briefing and the transport out to the plane. It sounds most mundane, doesn't it? An impacted tooth.
But it underscores how these tiny random things could literally change someone's fate in wartime.
Wow. Thanks you think. Another volunteer on that flight was Staff Gauch Fred Diggs.
It really does. The sheer chance involved, who gets called, who doesn't, leading to these huge consequences.
And tragically, the Corsair, it didn't make it back.
No. On the return flight, after they'd hit the target successfully, the plane lost power. Failure of all 4 engines.
All 4 at once.
That's what the Rhodes account and the Navigator's report said. Loss of power to all engines. Now, here's where history gets a bit fuzzy sometimes.
Oh, so.
Because a later report, a 1976 UPI piece, said the plane was hit heavily by flak.
So, conflicting accounts. Engine failure versus enemy fire.
Exactly. It raises that important question, how often were those initial wartime reports maybe incomplete or slightly off, especially in the chaos out there?
And think about the impact of that uncertainty on the families waiting back home. Must have been agonizing.
That's an excellent point. It was incredibly common. The fog of war, communication issues, the urgent need for any news sometimes overriding a full investigation.
Just the speed of events.
Right. So families often lived with that uncertainty for years, sometimes forever, never quite knowing the exact circumstances.
Just left with questions.
A profound sense of not knowing. In Carroll's case, though, whether it was flak or engine failure, the tragic end result for him and Fred Diggs was the same.
The plane went down. Where exactly?
Near Kawa Island. That's in Minmay Province, Papua New Guinea.
And Carroll Dahmer. He was trapped.
Yes. Trapped in the bomb bay. He died in the crash itself. Couldn't get out.
Oh, terrible. And Staff Stride Diggs, the other volunteer?
He was pulled from the wreckage, reportedly almost unconscious. But he died tragically on the way to a medical hospital several hours later.
So they were the only 2 who died.
That's right. Out of the 11-man crew, the other 9 survived and were rescued.
Incredible. And for his sacrifice, Carroll was recognized.
Yes. Posthumously awarded the Purple Heart and the Air Medal.
The news must have just devastated his family and Centralia.
Hit them incredibly hard. His brother, Robin R. Dahmer Jr., he got the telegram, that dreaded War Department telegram.
When was that?
Saturday, January 23rd, 1943, from Adjutant General Ulio. It just said Carroll was killed in action in defense of his country in Southwest Pacific area.
Just blunt like that.
Yeah. And for Centralia, this wasn't just one more loss. They'd already had Orville Edmond reported missing, later found to be a POW.
Okay.
And George Guilford also missing. So losing Carroll, it felt like another deep cut for the town.
You have to imagine that constant fear in small towns back then. Every telegram, every bit of news, the shared grief.
Absolutely reshaped the community fabric. These weren't just names on a list. They were sons, brothers, friends, neighbors.
How did the community cope? Formally, I mean.
They held a big memorial service, a real outpouring of collective grief. It was at the Congregational Church in Centralia, Sunday, February 11th, 1943.
Do we know any details?
Yeah, the program listed specific hymns like Faith of Our Fathers, No Shadows Yonder, anthems like There Is No Death, and the topics discussed really showed how they were trying to process it.
Like what?
Things like what a patriot's life means to the state, the value of a patriot to the community, and the loss of a patriot's passing. It really paints a picture of a town mourning together, trying to find meaning.
That communal grief is powerful. But there's always the private side, too, isn't there?
Definitely. Official condolences came in, even a heartfelt message from General George Marshall, the Chief of Staff of the War Department, sent right to Robin Dahmer.
Wow, from General Marshall himself.
Yeah, calling Carroll a gallant soldier whose name was indelibly recorded on the rolls of our nation's honored dead. Imagine receiving that. It underscores the gravity, maybe offers a tiny bit of comfort.
While also highlighting the personal cost. But for his stepmother, Florence Dahmer, solace came differently.
How so?
She kept a poem pinned up. Lost Flyer's mother found comfort in its words, which really speaks to that deeply personal side of grief, separate from any official notice.
A very private way to cope.
And even amidst all that, the practical things had to be dealt with, right?
Always. Like probating Carroll's will. That happened in April 43. His brother Robin was the administrator. The records mention $5,000 in real estate, $8,000 in personal property.
A stark reminder of the legal and financial realities families faced after such a loss.
It's such a contrast, isn't it? The general's message, the mother's poem, the probate court, all different facets of how loss hits.
Okay, now let's jump forward. Decades forward. Through years of quiet remembering, generations growing up just hearing stories.
To something almost unbelievable, an incredible development.
So what does this discovery mean? For the family? For history? 59 years after the crash.
59 years. Amazing.
In 2002, the B-24D Corsair was found.
Where?
In 90 feet of water. A sunken grave all that time. And the key figure in finding it,
Who was it?
Staff Sprite Roy Rhodes, the former radio operator on that flight. Years earlier, he'd published an account of the mission.
His testimony was the key.
It provided crucial details that finally led them to the plane's location. It shows the power of those personal accounts, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And the most astonishing part.
Carol Dahmer's remains were found inside the aircraft after all that time.
Wow. Just wow. Bringing a piece of the past right into the present like that.
And this discovery, it triggered this whole intricate, dedicated process, modern military recovery.
Which is a truly remarkable effort in itself. There's a whole protocol set up, right, between Australia and the U.S. governments for these situations.
Yeah, pending a U.S. government survey of the site. So in July 2002, the 90th Bomb Group, Carroll's old unit's descendant organization, formally requested the recovery.
Who did they request it from?
The Department of the Army in Hawaii. And Johnny E. Webb Jr. from CILHI, the Central Identification Laboratory, Hawaii confirmed they'd take the case.
CILHI, right. They do amazing work identifying remains.
They confirmed it would be part of their 2003 operations plan, even though the water depth, 90 feet, was a real challenge.
But they were developing underwater excavation capabilities around then, weren't they?
Exactly. It shows that deep, ongoing commitment to bring fallen service members home, no matter how long it takes or how hard it is.
It really speaks volumes about the value placed on every single life lost in service, that this commitment exists decades later.
And those initial recovery stages were reported as hopeful. It really connects back to the families, doesn't it, for so many decades.
Think about Carol's brother, Robin R. Dahmer Jr. By 2003, he was living in the Apostolic Christian home.
Imagine being Robin, living with that loss for nearly 60 years. 60 years. And then in your later life, you get this news.
It's profound. Was it reopening old wounds, or did it bring some kind of peace even after all that time?
It's hard to know for sure, but for many families, that kind of closure, that definite answer, even decades later, it can be incredibly powerful.
Yeah, a finality that was missing for so long. It allows for maybe a different kind of remembrance, a deeper one.
So Carol Dahmer's journey, from that quiet Kansas farm to the Pacific battlefront, his story spans nearly 60 years, from his death to this incredible discovery.
It's a real testament, not just to the memory of those who served, but also to the unwavering dedication of the people who keep searching for them.
This deep dive, it really feels like it's about more than just one soldier.
Oh, definitely. It touches on all those countless, maybe untold stories from the war, the lasting impact on families, on communities.
And that solemn promise, that relentless commitment to account for everyone who made the ultimate sacrifice, even years and years later.
It really highlights how history isn't just static, sitting in books. It's alive. It's constantly being rewritten, updated with new discoveries.
Giving voice to chapters we thought were closed, and maybe bringing some long-awaited peace.
So as you listening, think about Carol Dahmer's story. Consider that immense effort, the resources, the dedication needed to find and identify someone decades after a war.
What does that ongoing effort really tell us about the value we place on every life lost in service?
And maybe, What stories from your own family's past, perhaps lying quiet or just in fragments, might be waiting for their own deeper dive?